Trent Harvey, I got that work, now rock out.
Get ready. Let's get this started. Alright. Welcome home with Lady Blue Flames. We are here. Episode 16 is about to be in the books. We got a lot to discuss. A lot of things have happened. WNBA probably got like a month, a little bit over left. So we really about to get deep into the playoff push for a lot of teams. The Women's Soccer League has started back up as well. And so we got some updates as far as that and players. So we should have a fun episode. We got a new book of the month. We will get into that later in episode as well. So very excited to be back, kicking it up. Episode 16. And of course we'll start with the WNBA. Now, the trade deadline just passed, so we have gotten quite a few moves to discuss. Before we get into the trades, Emma Mieseman came back from overseas and she signed with the New York Liberty. And for those of y'all that don't know, Mieseman was on the Mystics. She was a key piece of that 2019 championship. So it breaks my heart that she is on Liberty now. But I'm glad to see her back playing in the W because she didn't play in the W last season. And then Cameron Brink is now back from injury for the LA Sparks and has been playing spectacular, getting her feet back wet and playing games when she didn't play since her ACL tear last season. So we'll get into some highlights of those games later. But Brink is back. It's been very exciting for LA, and they've been playing well. So they're going to be on their big playoff push as well. Now, trades. The first big trade that happened was Dallas trading Dejanay Carrington to Minnesota. And in return, Dallas got Diamond Miller and Carly Samuelson. And Minnesota was already a really good defensive team, and they just added another great defender. And so I told you guys before the season started that Minnesota was coming after everything this year. Nafisa was coming after everything this year. So they're not playing no games. They're trying to win this championship. So we'll see if they're successful or not. Now, just before the deadline, the team that made the most splash in the trades was definitely my Washington Mystics. One of them hurt more than the other for me as far as trades go. And that was the first trade they made. They traded Brittany Sykes to Seattle. And in return, the Mystics got Alicia Clark, Zaya Cook, and a draft pick. Now, we waived Zaya Cook because we don't have any more roster spots. So, I feel bad for Zaya Cook because I think she's a really good player. Hopefully, she gets picked up by somebody else. But I kind of figured we were going to have to waive somebody because we don't have any spots left. We kept Alicia Clark, which, for some of you, you know, she was on the team in 2023, I believe, was the year that she was on the Mystics. And then last season she went somewhere else, and now she's back with the Mystics. And hence why I'm wearing my Brittany Sykes jersey today, is this one hurt the most to me because y'all know I love me a really good defensive guard, and I really enjoy watching Sykes play for the Mystics and watching her get better over the last couple seasons after we got her from LA. So this one definitely hurt me as far as trades, and I understand the Mystics are planning ahead, but I do still feel a little sting for us having to trade Brittany Sykes. The next trade was the Mystics traded Aaliyah Edwards to Connecticut, and in return we got J.C. Sheldon and a draft pick. So my Mystics have definitely been stockpiling draft picks for 2026. So I think we got like 6 different draft picks in 2026. And 2026 is supposed to be a really good draft. 2026 and 2027 are going to be big drafts. So we definitely stockpile the drafts, and we're definitely looking to be good and winning in like the next 2 or 3 years, which I'm excited for. And I understand that it takes time to build like a championship team. So, and that's why I said the Sykes thing stung, but I also understand that we're in a new regime when it comes to the Mystics. Like, we had the same regime for a good stretch, and we are now in the new era of the Washington Mystics with the new coach, new GM, a lot of rookies and sophomores, and then we'll probably have a lot of rookies again next year. So they're looking to build something to sustain, which I like, but it has its rough moments. And the Sykes trade was one of the rough moments for me. Alright, and so that was the trades that went down before the trade deadline. And then last night, Julie Alleman for LA got her first triple-double. And then Alyssa Thomas just got her 3rd triple-double in a row. She's the first player in the WNBA to do that. Get 3 triple-doubles in a row. And for those, if you guys have been watching, AT has been a triple-double machine the last couple seasons. And people tend to forget to talk about her just because, like, she doesn't have, like, a one part of her game that, like, everybody looks to. But she has always been, like, a workhorse and impacting the game on offense, on defense, helping make her teammates better. So she's always been that kind of a player, and more people are starting to talk about her, even though they should have been talking about her. She's definitely should be in the MVP conversation. I don't know how it will work with the voters they typically have, but she should be up there. She should be up there with Nafisa and Asia, even though she's not like averaging a ridiculous amount of points. The fact that she's consistently getting triple doubles is super good in its own right. So we'll see what happens, but she definitely should be in the MVP conversation. Definitely should be in the MVP conversation. All right. Let's see. Let's check out the standings real quick. But we are definitely in crunch time. And for all these teams that are really close in record, the wins and losses can mean making the playoffs or missing the playoffs. So we are definitely in like crunch time, especially for that bottom half of the league. And so the standings as of right now, we got Minnesota at 1. They're 25-5. New York Liberty at the 2 spot with 19-10. Atlanta in the 3 spot and Phoenix in the 4 spot. They both have the same record. They're 19-11. Indiana in the 5th spot, 17-14. Seattle in the 6th spot, 16-14. Aces in the 7th, they're also 16-14. Sheesh. 8th spot, Golden State, 14-15. 9th spot, the Sparks, 14-15. 10th spot, the Mystics, 13-16. 11th spot, Chicago, 8-22. 12th spot, Dallas, 8-22. 13th spot, Connecticut, 5-24. So for me, looking at these records and these standings, realistically, I see there's 10 teams fighting for their 8 spots. And that's the top 10 teams right now. Because outside of Minnesota, everybody else, there's usually like 2 teams with the same record or within a half a game of each other. Like 3 and 4 have the same record. 6 and 7 have the same record. 8 and 9 have the same record. So at this point of the season, like I said, a win and a loss can be the difference in you being in a good spot or you being in a bad spot. So teams are really going to have to dig in and pull out these wins no matter who they playing. Key thing, Minnesota, Nafisa is out with the ankle injury. I think they said 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. Liberty have quite a few players that are injured. So I don't think anybody's going to catch up to Minnesota. But the Liberty can drop spots as well, because they're only a half a game ahead of Atlanta and Phoenix. So this next month is really going to show us who's really trying to get into the playoffs and where they're trying to position themselves. So it should definitely be some fun, entertaining games. Now tonight, Friday, there's only 3 games on the slate. New York plays Dallas, Washington plays Minnesota, and Seattle plays the Aces. The Seattle Aces game is huge because they have the same record, and then also for tiebreaker. So people have to keep that in mind. The tiebreakers come down to how many times you've won or lost against that team that has the same record. So winning that series also becomes very, very, very important. But that is where we are with the WNBA right now, with, like I said, a month, maybe a little bit more left in the season. All the trade deadlines are done, so the only thing people can do is pick up hardship contracts or release people, but no more trades can happen. And I think just about every team has a full roster right now, so maybe 1 or 2 teams will have like 1 roster spot, but not many teams have any roster spots right now. So it's going to be very interesting to see where everybody ends up. But like I said, today is my last day to feel the hurt and sadness that we had to trade Brittany Sykes away. And of course, this is like one of my favorite Mystic versions of the Mystics jersey with the black and the gold. You know, when they came out with it, they attached that song, "Everything You Touch Turns to Gold," boom, and it just went so good with the jersey and the video that they made. But Sykes is now on the Seattle Storm. I'm still gonna root for her because I think she's a great player, great person, and I'm super grateful that she was on the Mystics for the time that she was. And I will miss watching her in the Mystics jersey. But y'all know I root for the players to make the best decision for themselves, whether it's leaving the team, getting asked for a trade, whatever it is. I'm always for the players making the best decision for them, because we all know at the end of the day, a lot of this is business deals. And if some of you guys didn't know, the soccer league was definitely on an international break for like almost a month, but they are definitely back in action now. And one key piece coming back as well is Trinity Rodman is back with the Washington Spirit after taking time off for her. She had a back injury that was really causing problems. And they didn't even have like a timeline at some point. It was just we working on it. So when we came back from international break, it was absolutely amazing to see that she was back. She's playing. Their first game, she came off the bench, which I'm pretty sure she didn't mind because she's been out for a minute. But she's back with the Washington Spirit, and she actually scored their game-winning goal in that game earlier this week. So it's very exciting to see her back playing soccer, back with her teammates, and everybody was just so happy and so hyped. But let's look at the standings. Whoop. All right, because I think they still got like 2 months left in their season, I believe. I think their season is longer than the W season is. But soccer standings, we got Kansas City, number 1 spot with 36 points, record 12-2. 2 spot Orlando with 26 points, their record 8-4, 2 draws. Washington is in the 3rd spot, 26 points, with the same record as Orlando, 8 wins, 4 losses, 2 draws. San Diego in the 4th spot with 25 points, record of 7-3 and 4 draws. And we had a lot of games that ended in a draw this season. Sheesh. 5th spot Seattle, 24 points. 6th spot Portland, 22 points. 7th spot Louisville, 20 points. 8th spot New York, 19 points. Now, I believe their playoffs is also 8 spots. And they have 14 teams. And just like the W, it looks like everybody's pretty close point-wise. And so there could be a lot of movement for the soccer league, just like in the W, because a lot of these teams are within like 2 points of each other. So if you can, definitely tune in to some soccer games, because it's about to get interesting for them as well. Just like the W, people are going to be trying to make the playoffs, so that always breeds for some really good games when people are fighting for a playoff spot. Let's see what their upcoming games are. Let's see, they got 2 games tonight. And usually you can catch their games if you have Paramount Plus or if you have Amazon Prime. Their games are usually on one or the other. Also on Ion, just like the WNBA, they show the Women's Soccer League as well. And then Saturday is a 3-game slate. So it's nice to see that the soccer league will be back in full swing. Like I said, all their teams will be pushing for the playoffs as well, just like they are in the WNBA. So it should be some really, really exciting games in basketball and in soccer. So if you have any of those channels, Ion is on Amazon Prime if you just have Prime, Paramount Plus, WNBA League Pass, obviously, if you watch the WNBA games. And so definitely tune in. There will be a lot of great games over this next month. Very, very excited to watch. But now we're going to get into the book of the month. So for August, as I told you guys, I'm trying to get books that are related to women's sports in some way. So far we've done people from basketball. We did a couple books from players that play soccer. And I eventually want to trickle down and do other sports as well. And so this month is no different. I actually picked a book from a gymnast. So I'm excited because I didn't do gymnastics, but during the Olympics, I am glued to my TV to watch gymnastics. So this month, the month of August, we got Unstoppable by Maggie Nichols. She has been on Team USA. And she's won at the collegiate level as well. And she's been doing gymnastics for a long, long time. But again, this is Unstoppable for Maggie Nichols, gymnastics. So let's see what my first excerpt is going to be. Okay, so this book is going to be interesting because a lot of things started coming out about the culture around women's gymnastics, and so we'll bounce back and forth between like taking something, the good parts, and as well discussing some of the issues / bad points. So we'll go back and forth, but I'll start with a good one, in which she was talking about one of the coaches that they had around who she felt helped them from a mental aspect of the sport. And it says, whenever we were down on ourselves, stressing out, or struggling physically, he always encouraged us to ask, what can I learn from this? What is this teaching me? How can I get better? He always wanted us to look at a situation constructively so we could move on with purpose and a plan. And I'll read that again. Whenever we were down on ourselves, stressing out, or struggling physically, he always encouraged us to ask, what can I learn from this? What is this teaching me? How can I get better? He always wanted us to look at a situation constructively so we could move on with purpose and a plan. And that hit for me just because I'm definitely in a stretch of my life where I'm having to look at things constructively so that I can plan how I want to move forward accordingly. And so this, what can I learn from this? What is it teaching me? And how can I get better? Like, I think those are really good questions to ask when things are kind of not going the way you want them to or the way you expected them to. And saying, always looking at a situation constructively. And I know a lot of times when things happen to us, we can typically have like an emotional reaction first, which there's nothing wrong with that. It's just in trying to learn and be constructive, you typically won't stay in that emotional response long. So I definitely over the years have gotten better at, okay, I don't like this, I didn't like that. Okay, what can I do? Because there are always things in situations that you can't specifically do something about, but there are things that you can. So moving on from that emotional response quicker into the constructive response of, okay, what can I do now to make this better, or make sure this doesn't happen again, or make sure this does happen because that's what I want to happen. So I love that little piece because I think sometimes we can get out of looking at something constructively and just looking to blame something or blame someone, and kind of woe is me, instead of having a constructive outlook on things. So But that is the excerpt from Unstoppable by Maggie Nichols. And we'll get more into her story on the next episode. But I thought that was a nice piece to kind of start off with. So I would say over the next week, just kind of take a look at your situations, whether it's a situation you like, a situation you don't like, and kind of assess whether you're constructive when things happen, or do you get stagnant, or can you flip that switch once you've had like your initial emotional reaction. Like, and this is just a random example just because we were talking WNBA. Just like when I saw the trade for Sykes, my first response was, I don't like this. I love Sykes. I love watching Sykes play. I want her on the Mystics. But intellectually, basketball wise, and seeing what the Mystics have been doing the last season, I can see like what they were looking towards. But that doesn't change the fact that it stings, and that's okay. And so I think that's kind of how we have to look at other things in our lives. Like, yeah, sometimes things hurt or they sting, but you gotta flip into that constructive mode as well, and not stay in that kind of sting hurt phase too long. But yes, so that is the book of the month. I'm excited. The book has been really good. And then, like I said, we'll get more into her actual story in the next episode. So like I said, we cover the book. This will be the book for the month of August, so we'll have plenty of time to go over her story. Next episode, we'll probably watch some highlights of her as a gymnast and some of her milestones. But that is the book of the month. This has been episode 16. We talked about all the trades in the WNBA, and I said goodbye to my lovely Brittany Sykes, who has been traded to the Seattle Storm. Still one of my favorite jerseys, so it's still gonna be here. NWSL is back in action. Trinity Rodman is back with the Washington Spirit after being out for quite some time with injury. We talked about the book of the month, which is Unstoppable by Maggie Nichols. So that'll be the book for August. But we are back. Both leagues, WNBA and the NWSL, will be fighting for playoff spots. So we should have some really good games of basketball and soccer. So as I said, if you have Amazon Prime, you have Ion, Paramount Plus, WNBA League Pass, definitely tune into the games because teams are going to be fighting for their playoff lives over this next month. So definitely stay tuned in. But that is this week's update. Appreciate you guys hanging out as always. If you have any questions, topic ideas, definitely make sure you leave them in the comments. That way I can get to them at a future episode. We're going to cover all sports, so don't feel like if it's not one of my main sports you can't ask. We are going to cover basketball, soccer, volleyball, football, gymnastics, so just about all the sports we'll get to eventually. We're just getting this train rolling, so bear with me. But yes, if you have any questions, topic ideas, concerns, definitely leave them in the comments and I will get back to them in some future episode. I can't say which one, but I always like to do my research before I respond to anything, so there'll definitely be a response. But that is today's episode. So as usual, the goal of Welcome Home and this show is to educate, appreciate, promote, and support women's sports. The goal of Welcome Home is to educate, appreciate, promote, and support women's sports. Welcome home.